All right, good afternoon, everyone. Well, it feels weird to say that, Marcel. Good afternoon. We haven't said that in a while. Today is Monday, July 25th. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin. I'm joined by my co-host here, Big Marcel, for today's MMAOB Daily Podcast. Marcel, happy birthday, man. It was your birthday yesterday, buddy. So how was your big day? You're 33 now, right? You joined me in the 33 club?
Yeah, man, I always say I'm 27. We were counting back since 30th. Yeah, I'm 33. Thank you, man. Yeah, it was a fun day, kind of busy before with UFC London, but at night still. Yeah, after that, family was over, which is good. And thanks, guys, in the chat for saying happy birthday. I really appreciate it. And thank
Yeah,
you
we had Joe and Glenn in the chat. I'm sure we'll have other people in here today. Obviously, switched up the time this week. Did a switch up on you guys, but wanted to still do the show, obviously, with you, Marcel, because I like talking the fights with you, man. So glad that we were able to do it. I know it's a little bit late for you right now, Marcel, so glad you're up and going to do the show. So we'll do this podcast. We'll talk about UFC London, Bellator 283. Might not go the full hour for the recap. We'll see how it goes. And then, obviously, we're going to preview UFC 277 on the next podcast, which I'm really looking forward to, Marcel. So I think we should just get into it. We also got 8 Loco in the chat. What's going on, man? He says happy birthday to you as well. So let's just get into it, Marcel. I mean, might as well just start. Obviously, we had a lot to talk about from this card, UFC London. Marcel, for me, like, you guys know I take the picks thing pretty seriously. Like, I'm always trying to do well. I had a horrible week last week, obviously, with the Long Island card, man. So it was nice to actually have a good week, Marcel. 11-3. I'll take that all day, man. Called a couple underdogs. I know you did as well. Definitely a solid week for myself. So I was happy with it. Only a few fights didn't really go the way I thought. Most of them really went the way I thought. So it's nice to see that happen after a bad week last week. Nice to bounce back, Marcel. See, it's like you're a fighter sometimes, Marcel, when you're doing this stuff. Like, you're never as bad as your worst weeks, but you're never as good as your big weeks either. So it's nice to bounce back in the win column. We got a lot to talk about here, Marcel. We got Gorilla Gambles in the chat. He says happy birthday as well. Glad you're here, buddy, as well. We are doing the live show today. We'll just go through the podcast. Sorry, Marcel. We'll go through all the fights in this podcast, and like I said, 277 next. So let's start off with the main event, and it really wasn't much of a fight here. For the second week in a row, Marcel, we had an injury in the main event, which is just very unfortunate, obviously. This time it was Tom Aspinall getting stopped here with a knee injury 15 seconds into the fight. I mean, there's really not much to say about this fight because we didn't really see it play out at all. Yeah, I mean, Curtis did look good for the first couple minutes with his hands, but I really am not taking away anything from this fight. I think you could even take away less from this fight than the fight last week with Rodriguez and Ortega, Marcel. At least with that fight, we saw it play out for like almost 5 minutes. We saw the improved takedown defense from Yair. We saw the striking. This fight, there was a couple punches landed, Marcel. It really wasn't much of a fight. I'm checking the stats right now. Blaydes landed 4 strikes and Aspinall landed 3. So there was actually 7 strikes landed in 15 seconds, which is kind of impressive. I think someone would have been knocked out, to be honest with you, Marcel, like in the first round probably after watching it play back. Obviously, we both picked Blaydes. I bet on Blaydes at plus money. I'm glad I got the bet right. But again, it just didn't play out. So it's not like I can go around and brag about this one at all. Just like last week with Yair. It's nice to have it in the win column, Marcel, but it's not. It's kind of like lucky because it could have went the other way. Blaydes could have been the one blowing his knee out. And you would have been like, fuck. You know what I mean, Marcel? That's part of the sport. So what are your thoughts, man? Because I really have not much to say about this fight. Just there's nothing that happened, really.
Only thing I can say is that I hope that Aspinall's injury won't be as worse as I expect it to be. Right. Dude was literally crying in the cage. So if you have that kind of emotion, I mean, I feel like it's probably not a real good injury. It didn't look good at all. Yeah, it sucked. I mean, definitely for Aspinall in front of his own country. Big fight that propels you into the top 5 of the division. Mm-hmm. For Blaydes, it sucks as well, because you have a full training camp. You come from Denver to London, and you pretty much fight 15 seconds and it's over, And you win, you get your show money, you got your win bonus, but I mean, it's not what you expect, What do we know after this fight? Pretty much nothing. The fighter, the winner can still fight Gan against Tuivasa, the winner of that one, but it's like a chapter that isn't closed, and that's the same thing we had with Ortega Rodriguez last week. And this was even worse. We only saw 15 seconds, so yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Just stop them. You can't really take much away from this fight, guys. Like, again, bet on Blaydes. You got your plus money bet in. I see Marcus in the chat right now. What's up, Marcus? He just said it didn't end how he thought, but he thought that Blaydes had the value. I mean, I still think he would have. He did look good for the 15 seconds, but again, there's just not much to say about it. it's not really one you can go brag about, Marcel. You know what I mean? It's just it was an unlucky thing that happened to Aspinall. He's going to be out for a while. I mean, this looks like a serious injury, to be honest with you. Like, it looks like one of those injuries that's going to keep out for like a year. I mean, this could be a potentially career-changing injury for this guy, Marcel. Like, your knees are like where your power comes from, your lower body. So it's really bad. It's really unfortunate. I like the camaraderie between the two guys after. They had a beer afterwards, Marcel. They shared a pint, which is awesome. Kind of remind you of Paul Craig and Jamal Hill. Yeah, last year. Remember that injury? Although that was different. That was inflicted by the fighter.
You mean Paul Craig, right?
Paul Craig. We'll talk about him in a bit too. Yeah, but again, there's not much to say. I just feel bad for Blaydes and for Aspinall, but for Blaydes too, because like you said, he did a whole camp. It wasn't his fault. It's not like it's anyone's fault, but he didn't get injured. At least he got his win money though, Marcel. I'll say that. That's why. Okay, I want to say this. Let me answer this question. Hey, Dave, what's up? He wants to know why it's not no contest. Yeah. It's always like this. It's just you're not able to continue in the fight. It's a TKO.
It's only a no contest when there's an illegal move or whatever, or a fall. And it can be no contest. But yeah, this is pretty much a TKO due to injury. So yeah. Yeah,
no contest is more like if there's like an accidental foul that ends a fight, they could call it. Well, in Bellator's case, I'm not sure if that was accidental. We'll talk about that fight at the end of the show. But yeah, it's just always a TKO. A lot of people are pissed, like, oh, I want my money back. Sorry, but that's not how it works. Unfortunately, it's a TKO loss. So if you bet on Blaydes by knockout, you actually did really well for a bet, even though he really didn't knock him out. But again, it's a TKO due to knee injury, I believe in this case. I hope he gets better soon, but I think, guys, he's going to be out for like a year probably. Just based on the injury, Marcel, which sucks. See some other comments here. A-Log is asking, did you guys notice Aspinall limping before entering the cage? I didn't notice it at all, to be honest with you, but maybe he did have something pre-existing. I'm not sure because it's kind of crazy it happened so fast. Like, if this happened a few rounds into the fight, Marcel, you could have been like, okay, this happened during the fight, like he got damaged, but maybe it was something that happened in training camp. Who knows? Glenn saying about Aspinall until having knee issues. Marcel, something's going on there.
Sorry?
I can't really hear. Something's going on. Okay, there it is. Stop now. I don't know what you're doing there, Marcel. I hear something crazy in the background. It's like a fan or something blowing. I don't know what it is.
Do you still hear me?
I can hear you, yeah. That was just kind of loud. I don't know if you guys heard it, but I couldn't hear anything for a sec. A-Log was saying Blaydes versus Ty Gon winner, or Pavlovich with the KO winner with Lewis. Maybe, but the thing is, I don't think he'll fight Pavlovich. He already said he wants to fight up in the rankings. He's talked about this. He wants to fight the winner of Gon and Ty. He even said, I'm not taking a short notice fight next month if someone drops out. I'm not doing it. He says he has plans for the rest of the summer. I mean, I don't really blame the guy. I mean, he should only be fighting guys ranked really high in the division. He's number 4, I think, right? He's obviously one of the better heavyweights, so he shouldn't be forced to fight down. He should fight the winner of Gone in Time, then maybe next year they'll get a title shot or something like that. I don't know. That's the only fight that makes sense, honestly. Unless, Stipe Jones, that thing doesn't work out, and then he fights the other guy who doesn't get the fight. Like, they could fight Stipe. I mean, they could do that fight. But I don't know where Stipe is. He probably wants to fight Jones. Sports Gambler saying, making money betting UFC Weekly is tough. I always tell your strong opinions, Adam Marcel. Hey, I appreciate that, man. We had a good week. I mean, we both had a good week. Yeah, I know, Glenn. I'm not showing the comments right now. My mouse is dying, so I can't click on it for some reason. Just give me a second here. Let's see if it works. There we go. Now it's working. Hey, Jason. It's only no contact with Connor. I mean, that was a TKO too against Dustin Poirier. So,
Doctor stoppage.
He was yeah, that's the thing. I think the reason it was called the doctor's office because it was between rounds. I think that's the reason why they called it that, not due to the injury. That's my guess for that, because I know a lot of people were talking about that as well. All right, let's get to the next fight here. Marcel, Jack Hermansson, Chris Curtis. I was totally wrong about this fight. This is like the most wrong I was of any fight in the card, honestly, because I really thought Chris Curtis would win this fight. Like, I felt good about him here. Just didn't get the job done. I thought Jack Hermansson looked phenomenal, Marcel. I got to be honest with you. I thought he looked great. I think it's a damn shame that Chris Curtis acted like a little baby after the fight, guys. I think that's really, really low of him to do that, to be honest with you. I really like Chris Curtis. I really like him, but I've seen what people are saying. A lot of people lost respect for him for acting like a sore loser, Marcel. He acted like a sore loser.
He apologized.
But still, that's what people remember. They remember Jack saying, "Oh, I'm sorry about having a bad fight." He had nothing to apologize for. He fought great. He fought smart. The first 2 rounds, he looked phenomenal. Third round, yeah, he was running backwards a little bit, but he already had 2 rounds in the bag at that point. Like, why even take the risk of getting knocked out? I don't blame him at all. I thought Marcel was one of the best performances. He landed 100 significant strikes. The most strikes of anyone landed on the card. And people are saying this was a bad fight by him. Come on. He looked good, man. Again, I was totally wrong about this. I was blown away by Jack's performance. The side-to-side movement, the kicks. He looked great, Marcel. I'm just disappointed with Chris Curtis, guys, honestly. I just think, like, I also saw his fight with Bilal Muhammad. Have you seen that fight, Marcel, where he did the same thing? He did the same thing.
I can't remember.
So he fought Bilal Muhammad about 10 years ago in the regional circuit. Someone said about this on Twitter. I went and looked it up. Same exact thing. Bilal basically wrestled him for 3 rounds, and at the end of the 3 rounds, he started yelling at him and sticking his middle fingers up at Bilal in the middle of the cage. Go and look it up yourself, guys. You'll see it. Again, I like Chris Curtis. He's a great fighter, but, like, this is not the way to act when you're losing fights. You just take it like a man. I know they've shown pictures of the two afterwards. They mended fences, but again, most people, that's the memory of them, is the last 30 seconds of the fight. And again, dude, if you have that much energy to be, like, yelling after the fight, where was it during the fight? As someone who bet on Chris Curtis, I was disappointed by his performance and by his post-fight antics. I thought Hermansson looked great. Just give me your thoughts on the fight, man.
Yeah, about the post-fight antics, I mean, he apologized for it. They squashed it out, so I don't have any problems with it anymore. I mean, Jack said it was cool. So, listen, man, Curtis was acting weird, you know. Jack said it was cool, so it's cool to me. I mean, whatever, you know. But
Yeah,
the performance wasn't good, you know, from Curtis. I expected more. I think Hermansson did great in the stand-up, you know. Tried for 1 takedown, I think, in the 3rd round, but didn't happen. But he didn't need it, pretty much. Yeah, I think it was a good performance by Hermansson. And he said, like, I needed this win. And he needed that win for sure, you know. It kind of felt like a little bit like Hermansson against Strickland, but then the other way around, you know what I mean? So, yeah, good win for Hermansson, man. And I think I'd like to see what's next for him. If he can keep doing this, he will be good, you know what I mean? But Hermansson is also pretty inconsistent all the time. So I don't know.
That's the thing. But, he's win-loss for his, like, last 6-7 fights or something like that. He obviously, they asked him who he wants to fight. He just said anyone in the rankings. He just wants to fight a ranked opponent because obviously Chris Curtis was not ranked. You know, if Till could get healthy, I would do that fight because they've trained together twice now, I think. That would be a good fight still. I know he's lower in the rankings, but I think Dracus Duplessis would be a really good fight, to be honest with you, Marcel. It would be a fun fight. I don't see it happening because I think he's really low in the rankings, but he's just going to have to take whoever's available right now. I'm not really sure. Like, Andre Muniz is another guy. He's a very good fighter. But again, will he fight that guy, dangerous guy who's a little bit ranked lower? I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know, Marcel. I'm not sure. Like, who would you match him up with, Jack Hermansson?
Somebody around him, just under him or above him. I mean, he pretty much did the UFC a favor here, you know, by taking the Curtis fight. He shouldn't have done. He doesn't have to do that. You know what I mean? And he took the risk. He fought the unranked guy pretty much, you know, and he could have lost his ranking if he lost. So yeah, I mean, give him a good fight. I don't mind. I mean, I think he deserved it.
For Curtis, I mean, this is a bad loss for him because he had an 8-fight win streak snapped, and he didn't look good, Marcel. That's the problem. Like, if he looked good and lost, it's one thing, but he just didn't do much in this fight. I suck at picking Chris Curtis fights, by the way, Marcel. I'm 0-4 for his fights in the UFC now. That's really bad, eh? Like, I just can't get this guy right. I don't know. Like, I don't get it, guys. Like,
I'm 1-3.
There you go. You got one right with the last one, right? The Rodolfo one? Yeah. I suck at picking his fights. Actually, after that fight, I was like, man. Oh, by the way, he stopped another 6 takedowns. He's 32 for 32 stopping takedowns in the UFC now, Marcel. Like, he's got the best takedown defense. He just didn't let his hands go. Why did he not let his hands go in this fight? It was really weird. Weird performance, man. I don't really get it. You know, again, he's a good fighter, but I just think this is a bad fight for him. And this was his opportunity, Marcel, honestly, to break into the rankings, to really make a name for himself, and he kind of failed. So it's just it's tough. And I really like the guy, but not good. Let's see here. Hey, Marcus, what's up? You asked the same question. MMA Locker Room, what's going on, man? Glad to have you here, buddy. Hype, what's up, man? Glenn's saying about the Swedish card for Jack Hermansson, 100%. He's got to be on that card. Marcel, I'm still hearing some like feedback for some reason in the background.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, but there's like a fan or something blowing. I don't know if you guys can hear it.
Yeah, I know, but I'm really not gonna put that out, dude. It's way too hot in here.
All right, just try not to put it against the mic then, man, if you don't mind, because I
haven't put it against the mic. It's not against the mic.
Okay, it's a little distracting, not gonna lie. All right, let's go to the next fight here, Marcel. We'll talk about Paddy Pimblett getting the job done against Jordan Leavitt, 2nd round submission. I thought he won the 1st round. It was close, but I thought he did more damage. The judges agreed. 2nd round, obviously. Paddy, I thought. Yeah, and then the 2nd round, he gets the job done with the submission, gets the bonus as well, Marcel. What do you think of his performance? I thought he looked pretty good. I mean, he stopped most of the takedowns. He kept it kind of against the fence and then was able to get the sub. So I mean, like really, like it wasn't a flawless performance by any means, but it was a good showing again. I think he got another finish, right? Three in a row. What's your thoughts?
That's a good finish, but I don't really rank Jordan Leavitt that high. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's like I said, tailor-made matchup for him and Molly last week. I said it, and it came through. Yeah, I mean, he got the finish. Good finish, don't get me wrong, but there was actually, somebody asked me earlier, like, do you think, like, they listen, man, people love the hype, and they're like, can they be champions? I was like, I think they should keep this around for the London events and this kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Because they're really high there, really hyped there, so I think they should keep it around there. But that's pretty much how I see it. People will probably disagree, but
So let's talk about what could be next for Paddy right now. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so he's still new to the UFC, but guys, here's the thing. He's been a pro for 10 years. He's been fighting since 2012 as a pro, Marcel. Okay, that's a 10-year career. He has 22 fights, guys. He's not a rookie anymore. That's the thing. Like, I understand people are like, oh, just let the UFC build him up slowly, but like, he's got 22 fights. Like Sean O'Malley, on the other hand, only has like 10 fights, right? This is completely different. This guy has 22 fights. I looked it up, by the way. I looked it up. Connor fought for the belt, I think, in his 20th fight or something, 21st fight, something like that. Just saying, like, everyone's comparing him always to Connor, and well, Connor fought for the belt like pretty soon into his career. I'm just saying, I don't want Paddy to fight for the belt anytime soon, but like I put it out there, like, why not match him with like Dan Hooker, who's like a beatable guy in the top 15? If people were like acting like I'm throwing him to a championship fight here, like, I think that's the fight he could win, Marcel. I don't think Dan Hooker's as good as he used to be. I'm not saying he would win the fight. I think it'd be a competitive fight. That's why I like the fight. But if not, someone like Jim Miller, Clay Guida, like a veteran like that, would be a good fight in my opinion. He needs to step up now, Marcel. The UFC, like in the first couple fights, the UFC I think was paying him. Were they paying him 10 and 12 and 12? They were, right? Remember there was that whole, right? He's making a lot more money now, Marcel. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they're not going to keep feeding him cans, quote unquote. They're going to give him a step up in competition. I'm not saying Leavitt's scam, but you know what I mean. Like the first guy, the last guy fought Vargas, for instance, not a good fighter. I think he'll get a step up. Okay, maybe Hooker's too much, maybe, but I think he's going to get someone just in that like top 30 range, Marcel. So do you have a suggestion? Do you like a Jim Miller, like a Guida? Any thoughts on that?
They're going to give him probably a guy like Bobby Green, Michael Johnson.
That's a fight, though. Those are hard fights too, right?
I know. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I know.
I agree with you. I agree. Like, I don't think those are like necessarily easier fights than a Dan Hooker. I feel like they're on the same level. You know what I mean, Marcel? I just suggest Hooker because I think if you look at the top 15, that's the guy you can beat right now in the top 15. Or Connor, but Connor's hurt. Connor probably knocks him out, honestly. I'm just saying, like, there's not a lot of guys in that ranking right now that he would beat, in my opinion, but there are certain guys if he plays strategically. But again, if they give him someone unranked, I would understand it too. He's still obviously new to the UFC, but again, guys, he's been a pro since 2012. He has 22 fights. He's not a rookie, okay? So I think people need to realize that he's not new to the sport. Jalen Turner's been a pro since 2016, 2017 or so. He's in the rank. He's fighting killers every fight. Yeah. I don't think it's crazy to say that, this guy could fight someone decent next. Because again, this was a tailor-made fight for him, guys, and he got the job done. And hype us on about Puellas didn't submit Jordan Leavitt. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is actually impressive for me that he submitted Leavitt, Marcel. Like beating Leavitt, he could beat him, but submitting him is impressive, in my opinion. By the way, Andrew asked about Curtis. Is he a flash of the pan or productive career middleweight, top 10? Maybe just borderline top 15, but I think that showed that fight with Hermansson showed he's not as good as those guys. And also, he's a little small for the division. He even said, like, during the rounds, he was like, I can't reach Jack. I can't reach him, right? Because he's lacks in reach. He's not a true middleweight, Marcel, Chris Curtis. He's more of a welterweight. So, Matt Frevola is a good fight, but Matt's not ranked, Or he's not he's not even close to being ranked. Matt's like, top 50 in the UFC, maybe? He's a decent fighter. I wouldn't mind that fight. I know they wanted to do it. I agree with Bobby Green. I think that's a hard fight, I'm just saying, like, if you're willing to give him Bobby Green, like, why not just do Hooker or something like that? So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let's go to the next fight here. Nikita Krylov knocks out Alexander Gustafsson. Probably retires Gustafsson. Marcel, just an incredible performance by Krylov. I don't know if you saw my tweet earlier in the week, Marcel. I said that Krylov has 7 finishes in the UFC. He's never got a bonus. Finally gets a bonus. Finally, they give this guy a bonus. He's been robbed so many times of bonuses. Finally gets one. And probably retires Gustafsson in the process. I can't see Gus fighting after this, honestly, Marcel. 4 straight stoppage losses. I know it's two really good competition, but just his chin is completely gone, guys. Like, it's just not there anymore. He got blasted twice in the first minute, just completely blitzed. Great game plan by Krylov not to let him get comfortable in there, just blitz him and finish him. Krylov is one of the most underrated guys in the division. He's very good. And unfortunately, Gustafsson, I think, is at the end of his career, Marcel. So what do you think, man? I think that's it for him.
I mean, give him one more fight in Stockholm in November against a can and let him retire. I think that's the best way. I mean, you don't want to retire like this. Gustafsson has done great, I think. Yeah, this time not, obviously. For some years, like 2017, his last win. Yeah, that's how I think about it. I think Krylov did really good. Tagged him pretty much with the first punch, and after that, tagged him again, and he finished him. So, yeah, for Gustafsson, I want to know your opinion on this, by the way, man. They announced him as UFC Hall of Famer. You know? But
I have an issue with that, to be honest with you.
Me too.
I have an issue with calling guys like Gus and Frank Trigg, another guy we all respect.
Duhu Choi is also now a Hall of Famer.
These guys are not Hall of Famers, guys. Like, their fight is in the Hall of Fame. That doesn't mean they're in the Hall of Fame.
Exactly.
Okay? So it's a huge difference, massive difference. Like, I think it's just something they have to define better. Like, his fight is in the Hall of Fame. So that fight was, again, I was at that fight in Toronto, one of the greatest fights of all time, maybe the best fight of all time, incredible fight. But would I ever consider Gustafsson a Hall of Famer? Absolutely not. He's in the Hall of, like, very good, I would say, but that's it.
I mean, we would think that Stefan Bonner. He's also he's also a Hall of Famer. It's just weird, man. They should say the fight, but not the fighter. And there's no disrespect to the guys, But I mean, that means
I think Bonner's actually in the Hall of Fame, though, isn't he? Like, let me check. I think he actually might be in it.
Okay.
Let me check. I just want to make sure if I'm wrong, right or wrong here. Maybe I'm wrong. Bonner.
I can be wrong as well.
No, I know he's not. Yeah, let me check. Griffin's in. Sorry, Forrest Griffin's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Forrest is. Yeah.
Yeah, but Stefan Bonner's not. You're right. It's his fight. I'm just looking at the fights. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, Duhu Choi's a Hall of Famer, guys? Like, come on. It's got to be.
It's just weird, right? No disrespect to the guys, but I mean, if that would mean, for example, if I have one cracking fight in the UFC, and they say that's a Hall of Fame fight, I can be in the Hall of Fame with one cracking fight. You know what I mean?
No, it's not right. Weird. When they're saying that, they're making a mistake. Don't listen to them, Marcel. It's ridiculous. He's a really good fighter, guys. Obviously, he's had a 100%. Great career, but absolutely not a Hall of Famer and close to it. I'm just looking at the roster right now. So you said maybe in Sweden they could do him. Okay, so there's not a lot of options. I'm just looking at the rankings right now. Alexis Kamur is 1 and 2 in the UFC. Philip Lins is 1 and 2. Marcin Prachnio is 2 and 4. Tafon Chukwi is 2 and 3. Maxim Grishin 2 and 2. Those are like the least experienced guys in the UFC with the most losses.
I would say give him Alexa.
They could do that fight. Maybe they'll give him like someone that could beat him potentially and take his like star. But we want to see if he get a win, right? His final fight. We'll see. I mean, Mark Munoz, when he fought Luke Barnett, that was a fight he was supposed to lose, and he ended up winning it. So maybe they'll give him a fight that he's supposed to lose that he could still win, if that makes sense, Marcel. So maybe Kamur. I don't know, Marcel. I'm not sure.
Or move up to heavyweight and fight Georges Daniel or something.
You know what? Maybe you can move up to heavyweight again. Let me see what's at heavyweight. Because maybe why would he even cut the weight at this point? You know, he's not going to make a run. You could give him Harry Hunsucker. You know, Marcel? Marcel, I got the fight. I have the fight. I got it. I have the fight, guys. I have the fight. Jared Vandera.
Yeah,
that's the fight. 1 in 5 in the UFC. Let's do it. 1 in 4.
Imagine Jared Vandera knocking him out, dude.
It's possible. It would be like actually it's 1 in 5. Yeah, he's 1 in 5. He lost his last fight against Chase Sherman. I mean, that's the kind of fight. Actually, like Chase Sherman would make sense too. To be honest with you, there's more fights that make sense at Gus at heavyweight than light heavyweight right now, Marcel. If he fights again, but I think he should just retire. Honestly,
I would go with Hunsucker, Adam. I would go with Hunsucker.
Hunsucker's fighting Tyson Pedro. If he loses that fight, maybe right. Loser of that fight. What's up, Grateful, dude? You look like a retired fighter. You look terrible, dude. DC said the same thing. Yeah. You know, it's crazy. Like, he gave DC and Jones, like, one of their closest fights each. The DC Gus fight was amazing, too. No one really talks about that fight. That was a great fight, Marcel.
The weird thing in that one was I think that Gus was better on the ground, I remember, and that DC was stronger standing or had more success standing. And Gus won a really weird fight, man. But the group
was a great fight. It was an awesome fight. We'll go back and watch some. You guys missed that one. Poor Gus. I don't think you heard the bell. Fight should be a clear no contest. That's funny. David, what's up, man? He says Paddy should get who he wants. He says he wants Jared Gordon. Gordon's fighting Leonardo Santos next month at 278. If he wins that fight, they could do that. And he might win that fight. Talk about that in a second. Gus to his credit, he's giving our health for entertainment 100%. I love Gus. Dude, I love the guy. When I had my one Muay Thai fight, guys, Bad Boy at the time, I got in touch with them. I was like, hey, guys, like, can I order Gustafson shorts? Because when I used to train MMA, I used to only wear, like, Bad Boy stuff. They have the best equipment. It's a damn shame they don't do it anymore, Marcel, because remember, like, Shogun, Anderson, so all these guys had the sick.
Guys, Adam is a real bad boy. He always.
I am. I fucking love them. No, but seriously, like, So I messaged the guy, and he's like, "Well, we sell the shorts, but like, we have his backup pair for when he fought Vladimir Matyshenko at UFC 141. Do you want these shorts?" So they sent them to me. I'm an extra large. They sent me a large pair, so I'm in these little tight shorts during my fight. You can see my ass really good. So all the girls in the audience were like having a good time that night. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, man. So I love Gus because like I literally wore his shorts. Like he didn't wear them, but like it was his backup pair for that Matyshenko fight. So I still have them. Maybe they'll be worth something one day. I don't know. I mean, I wore them, so I don't know how much they're worth. They got my sweat and blood on them probably too. So, but yeah, I mean, I love Gustafson. I just think I think it's kind of disrespectful to call him a Hall of Famer for the actual Hall of Famers, like in the actual Hall of Fame. You know what I mean, Marcel? Like it's just not right. Again, Hall very good. If you had like a European MMA Hall of Fame, he'd be in it. But as far as like the UFC Hall of Fame, no. So Gustin Arlovsky, that is a good fight too. That's what I'm saying. There's better fights, or even Oleinik. Like these are better fights. Oleinik, I think that'd be interesting. He probably subs him, but the point is, guys,
against like, Abdurakhimov.
Yeah, I mean, he can win that fight. I don't know, Marcel. I think he's gonna retire, man. Like, why are we even talking about this? Like, he's giving these huge punchers, like. But he could win these fights still. That's the thing. Like Georges Daniel, the guy that you don't like, he could win that fight. Chris Barnett, the 5'9" heavyweight. Maybe that's a fight you could win. And then Barnett lands a crazy wheel kick. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, looking at the rankings, or not at the rankings, just the roster. There's more fights that make sense for if he fights on that Sweden card at heavyweight than light heavyweight. Go ahead.
You know what? Get John Villante back for one fight.
He looks so
he's retired, right? He's retired.
He's done. He's not fighting again. There's no chance. He's got a
Sam Alvey.
If he moved up to heavyweight or
to
light heavyweight, back to light heavyweight, yeah, they could do that fight. Loser, well, both guys should retire probably, to be honest. All right, let's get to the next fight here, Marcel. Molly McCann, again, knockout over Hannah Goldie with the spinning back elbow. Let's set it up. I mean, it's punches that really finished her, but still, like, spinning back elbow again, she wins a bonus. Incredible, once again. But again, hand-picked opponent, Marcel. I'm not taking a lot away from this. I think Goldie's honestly worse fighter than Luana Carolina. I was more impressed by that win than this one. I'll be honest with you. Like, Hannah Goldie's not very good at all. She's 1-3 in the UFC. I gotta be honest with you, Marcel. Listen, I enjoy watching Molly McCann fight, guys. I've been betting on her the last couple of fights. This fight, I didn't bet on it, but I mentioned on another podcast. I was like, plus 400 on the knockout prop. Like, someone take a shot at that. Hopefully someone listened to me on that one because, like, that was definitely value on that. I thought it was going to go to decision, but I'm just saying value-wise, there was definitely value. I'm just thinking, I think she's a little overrated at this point, Marcel. I got to be completely honest with you, man. Like, people are talking about, like, the second coming of, like, Amanda Nunes now at this point, like, the way they're talking about her. Listen, she's on a 3-fight win streak. She's definitely looked good, but, like, if you look closely at these fights, the Ji Young Kim fight was extremely close, and she arguably could have lost that fight. The Carolina fight, I mean, it's a good win, but again, against like an okay opponent. And then Hannah Goldie's like, she's not a flyweight. So, and then you look at like, she lost to Laura Procopio, who's not in the UFC anymore, Marcel. That was last year she lost to her. As long as you keep her away from grapplers, she's going to have a good chance to win because her striking is some of the better striking in the division, Marcel. But I do not believe she's a well-rounded enough fighter to challenge for the belt. She called out Antonina Shevchenko. I think that's a fight she can win. You notice, though, that Miranda Maverick's like, I want to fight you bad, and she's just not really seeming to be too interested in that fight. I think against Antonina, she beats Antonina, but I think Miranda Maverick beats her, Marcel, and I think they're going to keep her away from that matchup. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I saw that Miranda Maverick calling her out, but she replied to her as well. But I think she rather takes the Antonina fight, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, listen, man. I actually respect Molly a lot. I think she's how do you say that? She's really energetic and she's real. You know, everything you see with Molly, she's real. But I mean, I got to be honest, man. And it's the same with Paddy. I understand it's a lot of fun for the English crowd in London, but not top 15. Not top 15 in this weight class, dude. And also Paddy not a lightweight, you know, and lightweight is even more tough, you know, the women's flyweight. If you look at the bottom of the top 15 in the women's flyweight, you got there Tracy Cortez, Aaron Blanchfield, Amanda Ribas, Casey O'Neill. I mean,
bro, they all beat her. I think maybe
Cynthia Calvillo.
They all beat her. I think they all beat her. Maybe she beat Cynthia. Maybe.
No, not even, because her wrestling is too good, I think. So, honestly, the bottom of the top 15, there are like 3 or 4 of the 5 girls are like still young and up and coming. And she's not going to beat them, dude. I mean, no disrespect to Molly. I like her, watching her, but she's not going to beat them. And I think the UFC knows it, you know?
Yeah.
The UFC knows that they want to keep this thing going. She's fun to watch, definitely, for the people in London or the people in England. You know, they got a girl they can get behind. What we saw before in the UFC, man, against Lara Procopio, got taken down, got pretty much outworked there. She got stopped, I think, in her UFC debut against Jillian Robertson via sub, I think. And she lost another one right before the Procopio fight. I forgot that one. But, yeah, I mean, the UFC know what's
it was Santos. I mean, there's no shame in that loss at all.
No, definitely not.
But the Procopio one, taken down 7 times, that was last year, Marcel. How much better has her wrestling gotten in a year? She was 12 minutes of control against the girl who's not on the roster. They cut that girl from the roster, Marcel.
Yeah, I thought that was a bullshit cut, by the way.
It was a bullshit cut, honestly. But I'm just saying, she's not on the roster anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. I think McCann's a good striker, but I don't think she's completely well-rounded either.
Mm-hmm.
I think she'd be great in bare knuckle fighting, to be honest. I think she'd be perfect for that, you know? She's obviously a decent MMA fighter. Her takedown defense looked better in this fight. But again, Hannah Goldie's not really a true flyweight, Marcel. She's more of a strawweight, quite frankly. So, I don't know. Let's get some more comments here. Hey, Marcus. The Shevchenko, she would be the favorite for sure. I know Shevchenko's obviously got the striking background, but McCann's favored in that fight. He's asking about Tapuri. He was supposed to fight Barboza, but, I mean, the fight just never happened.
No, he posted fight news coming soon, so.
Yeah. Do you guys think Molly Miranda? I mean, that's the fight I'd like to see because I want to see her grappling tested. This isn't Bellator, man. This is the UFC. They're looking for the next champion. They're not looking to necessarily just to put together highlight reels for fighters, you know, which is what Bellator obviously likes to do. We've seen McCann match up with grapplers and she struggled with them. So I feel like if they do it again, she'll probably struggle again. If she fights a striker, she has a good chance to win. I think they'll do Antonina Marcel. I think that's the fight they'll make. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's my thoughts on that.
I have no problem with them making Antonina. I have no problem.
It's an okay fight. I mean, she's not ranked. Actually, is she ranked? Maybe she's still ranked.
No, she's not.
She's out of it? Okay, so, but she's probably 16, 17. So actually, it's not a bad fight. It makes sense. Haters. I mean, listen, McCann's been making me money. I'm just being realistic about it, you know? I think she's a decent fighter, but I just think she's getting overrated. That's my honest opinion on it, Marcel, you know? Yeah. Let's go to the next fight here. Volkan Oezdemir against Paul Craig. This fight was pretty bad, to be honest with you, Marcel. I mean, Craig was just diving for these leg locks, had no success at all with the grappling.
Dude.
He's another guy. I can't pick his fights right at all, Marcel. I don't know if I picked a fight correctly for him in his whole career. Jesus. This guy, every time I think he'll win, he loses. Every time I think he'll lose, he wins. I suck at picking Paul Craig fights. So I'm glad I didn't bet on. I just picked him, and I just stayed the hell away from this fight. I thought the fight ends on the distance. I know a lot of people lost money in the fight going the distance, Marcel. I'm surprised it went to 3 rounds, but I think Volkan fought a smart fight. Snapped the win streak of Paul Craig. I don't know. Just wasn't a good fight. Any thoughts?
I said after 2 rounds, man, on my Twitter, 2018 for Volkan. Paul Craig is playing a really, how do you say that? Really
dangerous?
Dangerous. A dangerous game with trying to lure him into his ground game and getting the submission anyhow. But if you don't get the submission, you're losing. And people are like, what are you watching? Is 2018 for Craig or 1919? It's like, how? You know, He's pretty much he even acted like he got knocked down twice to get to the ground. You know, he acted like that. He went down, you know, but Volkan was like, no, you're not down. Go backwards, you know. So that's what the thing was like. Normally Paul Craig fights normal, you know, and then in a certain sequence in the fight, he gets knocked down, and then somebody follows him, and he knows how to lock it up. Right now, he was specifically searching for that moment. You know what I mean? And that moment didn't came because Oezdemir wasn't stupid. He wasn't fighting stupid. He was fighting smart. Mm-hmm. And Paul was not setting anything up. He was going to the ground. Let's hope he follows me, and I lure him into a triangle choke or whatever. Or guillotine or whatever. But it was I didn't understand it. You know, if it doesn't work after 1 round, why you keep doing it? I mean, it wasn't a good performance by Paul Craig. He knows it wasn't, you know. I think he expected more from it as well. Volkan, good win finally for him again. I'm happy for the dude because he struggles as well in the division. Good win. He put on a smart performance, man, and he pretty much neutralized Craig's ground game, in my opinion. So yeah, good win.
Krylov called him out. He wants to fight in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, why not?
Perfect fight, right? It just doesn't it make a lot of sense? I think the rankings are right beside each other, right? If I'm mistaken. Did the new rankings come out today?
Later today, in like 6 or 7 hours.
I'm just gonna take a look at what they have right now because I think they're 9 and 10, right, in the rankings, Marcel. I believe. Let me take a look and double check it.
Correct. Was one.
Oh, Ozdemir's 9 and Krylov's 11, so that fight makes sense. By the way, I got to be honest with you. I think that Craig's management did him a bad job here with getting this fight because he fought someone lower ranked than him. After that win over Hill and the win over, what was the other win? Krylov. I think he should have got someone ranked higher. Now Jamal Hill's fighting number 5, Thiago Santos. Kind of weird to me. I just think his management didn't do him the best job here by fighting a very dangerous opponent who's ranked lower than him. Like, there were some upside here with Paul Craig because obviously being Volkan's good, but still not great. By the way, Joe's asking about Cub Swanson Martinez. Yeah, Cub's dropping to 135, guys. He's taking on Jonathan Martinez. I'm surprised he's dropping to 135 at age 38. And he looked great against Darren Elkins. Amazing. Knocked out Darren Elkins. Darren Elkins is tough as hell. That's crazy with the spinning wheel kick, I think it was. It was crazy. All right. That's the main card. Let's go through the prelims. We'll go through them quick because honestly, Marcel.
Yeah, please. Let's do it quick.
Bro, these prelims, let's be honest, guys. These prelims sucked. I mean, this was not a good set of fights.
Dude.
It felt like it was so long. It felt like a year gone by during these fights.
Bro, how long were the prelims? 3 hours? I think after
8 fights in just over 3 hours. They went over the time, right? Yeah.
I think after 2 hours and 50 minutes, I got a message from Gilbert Eiffel. He's like, dude, what the fuck am I watching? I was like, yeah, I feel the same way, dude.
It was bad. And here's the thing. I actually tweeted something out saying the UFC's in London. They've been getting a shitload of bonuses lately. These guys should take some risks, especially these guys that were winning their fights 30-26 in some cases, Marcel. And I'm not saying just stand and bang for the crowd, but why not pass the guard? Like, Mark Diakiese didn't even attempt to pass the guard once. Like, just garbage to watch. Like, I get it. He got his win bonus. He won the fight, but, like, Mikheyev too, Marcel, honestly. Mikheyev's fight was very disappointing in my opinion. Like, just holding the guys back for the 3 rounds. Again, he got the win, but, like, you're winning clearly. Like, take a risk. Go for a submission. Like, go for something. Like, I don't know, Marcel. I'm just disappointed by most of these fights. Let's just go through them quickly.
Yeah.
I was definitely wrong with this one. Ludovic Klein looked phenomenal, Marcel, against Mason Jones. Plus 375 underdog. He looked great.
One of the better performances on the prelims.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get a bonus, obviously, because, they only gave him to the finishes. But, he looked like complete performance. That kick he threw in the first round, that karate kick was sick. And then, obviously, knocked down Mason Jones, I think, in the second round. And his wrestling looked good, too. Like, he just looked really good, Marcel. And, guys, I had, like, a long parlay. I don't really do these, but on this card, I'm like, I have to because they're all these big favorites. And, of course, he's the one guy to lose. So, that sucked, but I know a lot of other people in the same boat, Marcel. A lot of people will put him in their accumulators. Mason Jones are talking about. I should have taken the short notice more into effect, I guess, because, obviously Ludovic was supposed to fight next week against Bahamondes, which would have been an amazing fight, by the way, especially looking back now. But, I thought Jones was the real deal, man. But now I'm starting to, wonder, how good he really is because he lost to Mike Davis in a fight that was close. I mean, maybe he could have won that. But even David Onama, on the feet, struggled badly. He was just able to get takedowns. And then this fight, obviously the Alan Patrick fight should have won, but Patrick kind of chickened out in that one. I just don't know how good he really is. I think I thought he was better than he is, Marcel. I don't know. I'm just disappointed by his performance, but I thought that Klein looked great. Any thoughts quickly on this one?
I fully agree with you, man. I think Klein looked great. I think Mason Jones honestly expected to have an easier fight. That's what I think,
Yeah.
And he saw probably Klein in his last couple of fights, and Klein didn't look as great in these last couple of fights as he looked before, and Jones probably was like, awesome, I can show for the English crowd. I know he's from Wales, but it's still UK, right? So I think he can show off, but Klein did perfect. I think he did a really great performance. Won 3 rounds, knocked him down the second round. Good performance from Ludovic Klein, man.
Yep. Mark Diakiese, like I just mentioned, defeats Damir Hadzovic by decision. This fight was terrible to watch. I mean, just a slow, boring fight. Again, I get it, Marcel. He went to what he needed to do to win. The takedowns were there, but he didn't attempt to pass the guard once, I don't think, Marcel, in 15 minutes. He had 13 and a half minutes of control. Come on, man. Any thoughts?
Motherfucker looked like Elias Theodorou, man. You know, it's like, and I like Elias, no disrespect, but he was just holding him on, wrestling him. And fuck, dude, if he fights standing against Hadzovic, he can knock him out. You know, I
Yeah.
think he's better standing than Hadzovic. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he's definitely better than him on the ground, but he's standing better as well. You know,
Yeah.
and even his own crowd was booing. You know, that
Yeah.
performance. You know, and it's like he found himself again. Like, oh, I can wrestle. You know, against Borchev, and now I'm going to wrestle again. And I understand that you want to win. You know, but can it be a little bit more entertaining? You know, can you try, like you said, can you try to pass a guard? Can you try to go into side control, maybe into full mount, try to finish a fight? Because he could have gone on for 3 more rounds, and it would be 3 more rounds with the same thing. You know what I mean? And this is not the Diakese I remember. You know, this is not the Diakese that fought Rafael Fiziev. This is not the Diakese that came into the UFC and tried to knock everybody out. You know what I mean? And I mean, I understand he wants to win, but still mix it up a little bit, man. You know,
Yeah.
that's all I think.
Yeah, this fight didn't do it for him, man. Let's go to the next fight. Nathaniel Wood against Charles Rosa. They didn't give a fight of the night. This was probably like the closest to a fight of the night, but it was too one-sided to give it fight of the night, if that makes sense. But Rosa, you know, I love the scream in that third round. He's screaming at him, Marcel. Like, he was really into the fight. Like, it was an okay fight, actually. It wasn't bad, Marcel. It was a decent fight, but, you know, Wood won like we expected. His striking looked great, and Rosa's tough as hell. Rosa's very hard to finish, man. I think Shane Burgos is the one guy who finished him, right, in the UFC. Yeah, only Shane. And he's fought a lot of
standing
good fighters.
TKO also.
Yeah, I mean, he's extremely tough. Great chin. Also, his submission defense is legendary. So, very, very tough dude. He has lost 3 straight fights. I think he'll probably get cut, Marcel. Maybe they'll give him one more because he's been like such a good soldier. I think he took this fight on short notice, if I'm not mistaken, because no one wanted to fight Nathaniel Wood, let's be honest. Yeah. Wood's very good, though, obviously, and I'm excited to see him at featherweight going forward. Any quick thoughts on this one?
Nice. Wood's very good. I think Wood looked really good in this fight, man. I think it was a good fight for him. If you look at Rosa, the problem with Rosa is that he is too often he loses these fights too often, you know, and sometimes you really get that Bryce Mitchell fight, man. If I remember that was awful, you know. But he's super tough, you know. You cannot finish him easy. And he got that typical. I think his nickname is Boston Strong. He got that, I would say, that Bostonian mentality, you know. And give him another one. You know, there have been worse fighters that gave a 4th chance after 3 losses. So give him another one. Yeah,
give him another fight. There's probably somebody could be at the bottom of the roster. He gave said knee sleeves and Ferris Layers and injury, maybe. Again, I'm not really blaming for wrestling. I think that's fine. But, like, why not try to pass the guard and go for a submission? That's what bothers me more. So, like, just sitting at a guy's guard, you win the fight, but you don't win any fans. You know, Marcel, in this sport, having fans matters too. Let's go next fight here. Jonathan Pierce defeats Makwan Amirkhani. He wins a bonus. Great performance. I got to be honest, Marcel, this fight went exactly how I thought. I thought that Amirkhani would gas out again, like he always does in his fights if he doesn't get that first round submission. And then Jonathan Pierce would get his back and pound him out, just like he did to Kai Kamaka. Very similar fight, Marcel, where he took his back and just pounded him out. I think the referee should have stopped the fight a little sooner. I don't know if you thought the same thing, Marcel, but it looked like he took some extra damage here. Jonathan Pierce is a good fighter, guys. He's solid. And, you know, I think that minus 150 was a good bet on him if you bet it, because it was compared to like a lot of the guys who are minus 500, he was definitely a cheap favorite. And he pretty much dominated the fight for the most part. Obviously, Amirkhani had some success in the first again, but yeah, Marcel, I think he's good. And Amirkhani, he's lost 4 of his last 5. They'll probably give him one more on that Swedish card if I would guess, Marcel. I know he's from Finland, but I think they'll give him a fight on that card. But yeah, I thought Pierce looked good. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think Pierce looked really good. I think I didn't have high expectations from him after losing his UFC debut, but after that, he's been looking good. So, all credits to him. Good finishes as well. Yep. So, I mean, I think it was one of the better performances of the night, to be honest, man. So, And
he's rewarded $50,000 for it, man. So it's very well deserved, I think.
Yeah, very well deserved.
That's his first bonus. He's actually had 3 finishes, and that's his first bonus. So well deserved. He deserved it. Let's go to the next fight. Muhammad Makayev defeats Charles Johnson. This fight was a complete snoozer to me, Marcel. I just didn't like this fight. The guy had so much control, 12 minutes of control, but Marcel, he only landed 12 significant strikes. Like, he just basically held on to the back of Johnson. Johnson couldn't break free. I don't know, Marcel. I mean, this guy's obviously very good. I don't blame him again because he had to do what he has to do to win. But, like, at that point where you're winning so dominantly and the scorecards were clear 30-27s, like, why not go for a back take? Why not go for a submission? You know what I mean? So, I don't know. He got 12 takedowns. I think they said he set the record of flyweight, if I'm not mistaken. But, I don't know. I wasn't super impressed. I mean, he's obviously very good, but I don't think it was his best performance. I don't know. What do you think, man?
Same. I mean, Mokaev had a lot to say before the fight. Like he was going to finish him in the second round, and he wasn't on his level. Listen, man, grappling-wise, no, he wasn't on his level. I think Mokaev was clearly better in the grappling.
Mm-hmm.
But he couldn't really control Charles Johnson. You know, Charles Johnson keep getting up. It was just kind of a snoozer, man, that fight, you know. And Charles Johnson couldn't get anything going. Win for Mokaev. And people say you cannot criticize him too much. He's still young. Yeah, he's young, I know. But I expect, listen, man, if you, it's like with Paddy, you know, if you talk a lot,
big game,
you know,
right?
yeah. And with Adesanya, and Adesanya is a champ. But if you talk a big game, you have to show it, you know. That's what I think. So it wasn't a great fight. He got the win. Let's see what's next for him, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it was an easy win. So I mean, listen, I don't blame fighters taking the path of least resistance.
No,
again,
not.
He should wrestle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But again, why not go for his back and try to choke him out or something like that? If anything, actually, Johnson was the guy who went for the submission with like 30 seconds left. He went for like a like ninja choke thing, Marcel. He tried. He didn't get it, but he tried. What's up, Andrew? We haven't seen you in a while here in the chat, man. Glad to have you back, buddy. A couple more fights here, Marcel. Jai Herbert defeats Kyle Nelson by decision. Pretty competitive fight. Kyle Nelson won the first round, then Jai Herbert won the second and third, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't think the fight would go the distance, Marcel, either. I'm surprised they went the distance.
I was like, man, now Herbert got finally a guy who will be probably competitive, but, you know, it's a guy he can beat, you know. And then the first round he's losing. I was like, dude, you're not going to kidding me that you're going to lose here again. But he turned it around. Second and third round, he did very well, I think.
Yep.
But, you know, this is a guy I always compare Paddy with. You know, look at who Paddy gets as opponents and look at who Jai Herbert got as opponents so far. And he finally gets a guy right now who I think is more on his level, you know. And this is like in Ilia Topuria, which was a short notice fight, I know. And before that, he got Trinaldo and he got Renato Moicano, remember. But, yeah, it's a good win for him, a second win in the UFC, and I'm happy for Jai Herbert, you know. He's a good dude and a good winner for Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson gave him a good fight, you know. So I hope for Kyle he gets another. I think he pretty much signed a new contract right before this fight.
Yeah, he did. So they might give him one more. I don't know, maybe because he's 1-4, but they might give him one more just because he's not a big deal. We picked this dog right. Victoria Leonardo defeats Mandy Bum. I told you the Bum was terrible, Marcel. I mean, she should not be in the UFC. Let's be honest. Like, what does she bring to the table, Marcel? What does she bring?
Shouldn't be, man.
No, she's gonna be. You think she gets released after this fight?
I would think so, man. But that fight, I don't know if I told you that, but I said like this fight goes in my personal collection, in my personal insomnia collection.
Yeah, I would never watch this fight again, honestly.
No, my God, please don't ever show it to me. I was hoping for some kind of a fight pass error or something, you know, that to watch that. That was horrible for 3 rounds.
Yeah,
Leonardo won the fight, and let's never talk about it again.
It's like it was it was just a bad fight. And then the first fight in the card, Nicholas Dalby defeats Claudio Silva. This was a competitive fight. First round, Silva won, then gassed out again. Marcel, like he doesn't every
always.
Fight. Always gasses out. He looked amazing in the first round. I'm like, oh shit, like he's gonna submit him, right? Couldn't get the job done. And then obviously Dalby comes back strong. Second round, I mean, one of the judges actually gave him 10-8, which I think is definitely arguable. And then third round, he wins too. So Dalby gets the win. Claudio Silva, Marcel, I think he gets released. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, and I think that's it for him. I will tell you this though. The guy's very fucking tough. Like, he's never been finished, and he's almost 40 years old, and he's fighting like guys that can finish you, like James Krause, Court McGee. These guys are tough as hell, and he can't finish him either. So he's definitely a very durable guy. Nicholas Dalby needed this win too, Marcel. I think the loser is going to get released. That's what I think was going to happen. I think Claudio Silva, that's his last fight in the UFC. Any thoughts quickly?
I think the same way, dude. I think he his third round in a row, or third fight in a row he's losing.
Yep.
Didn't look good in these others, so no, I don't think they give him a new contract. Definitely not with his age.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for the recap. What's your overall rating for this card? You're like overall.
I gave it a 5.5 out of 10.
Yeah,
so.
I was gonna say 6 out of 10. The card just didn't live up to expectations, guys. You know, like there was obviously some good performances, especially on the main card, but the prelims were not very good, and then obviously the main event didn't end like any of us wanted. And that's not anyone's fault, but a lot of the other fights were just not great. There was only a couple really good fights in this card, like in good performances. It just wasn't a great card, Marcel. Just overall disappointing. Okay, I think that's it for the UFC London recap. We'll just move on here. We're going to talk about Bellator 283 really quick, Marcel. We'll just go through some of the fights here. So main event, obviously, Jason Jackson defeats Douglas Lima by decision. Douglas Lima showed up he missed weight, so he showed up just in bad form, and he looked bad in the fight. Douglas Lima's lost 4 straight fights. He's been one of my favorite fighters for years, but I got to be honest, Marcel, I think that might be it for him as far as being a top contender. Just hasn't looked good. But Jason Jackson's a very good fighter. So here's the thing. Logan Storley's the interim champ, and Amosov, I think, is coming back. So they'll do that fight, and then I guess Jackson will fight the winner. I think he trains with Storley, right, at Killcliff. So I don't know if they'll fight each other, but I guess for the belt they would. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. But Jason Jackson's obviously very good. But again, Marcel, this fight was also kind of boring, to be honest with you. I don't know if you watched this one. It was just wrestling clinic for 5 rounds. Another Insomnia Collection fight, right, Marcel?
Dude, I think the last 3 or 4 Bellator main events have been Insomniac Collection fights.
Ryan Bader and Chia Congo was...
dude. MVP versus Logan Storley.
Oh, man. It's not really Bellator's fault. These fights are just not playing out the way anyone
I understand.
Wants,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Go ahead. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much expected that Jackson would win. You know, I think we both picked Jackson before the fight with his wrestling. Yeah, he pretty much blanketed him, you know, and he needed to win, but not really a fight I will watch again, you know.
No, for sure. Kobe event, your boy Tafik Musayev defeats Sidney Yella. Quick knockout, 27 seconds. He looked phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing he gets a title shot. I mean, I feel bad for Sidney Yella because basically he fought an unranked guy who's new to the promotion and lost his title shot, but, you know, really, I don't even know why Sidney Yella was ranked number 1 in the first place. Like, he's a decent fighter, but I mean, if he's your number 1 contender, that says a lot about the division, in my opinion. It's a guy like the UFC didn't even sign.
You know for who I feel bad?
Who?
Patricky Pitbull.
Yeah, because he's gonna get finished by this guy too.
I think Musayev wins again. Yeah,
the guy's very good. Obviously, he's dangerous, and he looks like a great addition in the roster. Why did the UFC not sign this guy? Why did the UFC pass on this dude?
Why does the UFC pass on so many people where I think would be good? And why take they? Listen, man. Sometimes they pass on people and then they give somebody a contract who is like 5-1 or 5-2.
Yeah,
doesn't make sense. But probably they can give them 10 plus 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. He probably wanted money.
I remember when Jacques Carré needed a fight back in the day, and
Chris Camozzi.
And they could get Khalidov, for example, you know, but they went with Chris Camozzi, you know, and it was a rematch.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's go to the other fights quickly. Usman Nurmagomedov, another amazing performance against Chris Gonzalez. He might get the title shot. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, he deserves it too, but I guess Tafik will get it because he has the win over Pitbull. But, man, Usman looks really good. Lawrence Larkin and Mohamed Burkmahov, I'll be honest, Marcel, like, I think this should have been a disqualification. Like, how could this not be a disqualification? You landed an illegal elbow like this to the back of a guy's head. You say, oh, it's accidental? What was accidental about doing that?
It wasn't even looking. Accident? It wasn't
Guys,
looking.
It was a clear foul, and that should be DQ. Like, if you bet on Larkin, you got, like, I picked Larkin. Remember, Marcel? It's not like I wanted him to lose. I wanted to look smart, but, man, he should have got DQ. It's lucky it was a no contest. I do think that the referee was just didn't make his mind up. He went to someone outside the cage and was like, what do I do? Like, what do I call this? Like, do I call it a no contest or a DQ? Like, you should know that as the ref. You shouldn't have to ask someone outside the cage. The referee didn't take the contest to his own hands, which bothers me. I will say this. Remember, they asked the guy, like, are you willing to continue? He's like, what am I going to win or am I going to lose? I think because he asked them that, they got, like, a little upset about that and then called it a no contest instead. Because I remember Diego Sanchez did the same thing against Michel Pereira. He's like, do I win the fight if I don't continue? They're like, yeah, you win the fight. He's like, okay, I'm not going to continue. Remember, Marcel, when he fought Pereira? Like, obviously you wouldn't, right? So I just feel like it should have been a DQ. And I remember, this guy was favored to win the fight. Like, he should have won on paper, right? Those were nasty. Like, it's not the first time Larkins did this. Like, that's how he knocked out Neil Magny, if I'm not mistaken. Remember, Marcel? When he knocked out, I think it was like that too, right? But I guess they were a little sideways or something. Yeah, I mean, I really like Lawrence Larkin, but I think he should have disqualified. I don't know. Any quick thoughts?
I agree with you fully, man. I also think the same way. I think he was landing that elbow on purpose, dude.
Yeah.
So, He was looking for it.
I agree. And then opening the main card, Marcelo Gomez, amazing comeback. If you didn't watch this fight, this was definitely an interesting comeback. Davion Franklin's first career loss. He won the first 2 rounds in the scorecards. Third round, Marcel, this guy needed to win and submitted him with 24 seconds left. So very impressive, Marcel, to get the finish, 24 seconds. Gomez, a guy that we both said we're not impressed by, but are you impressed by his performance now, Marcel?
Yeah, I was like, Marcel, oh! Yeah, that was really bad.
It was crazy, though, eh? All his wins are by stoppage, by the way. He's got 10 wins, 10 by stoppage. I think he's better than I thought, because if you look at his losses in the UFC, they were good fighters, so it's not like he's bad. Prelims were a lot of finishes. Dalton Rostad looked amazing. I think this guy's ready to fight for the belt, honestly, Marcel, against Johnny Epple. He probably fights like one more time against like a John Salter or something, but he's right there. Veda Ortega looked great, and then there's a bunch of mismatches. They're all like minus 1,000 favorites to off the card. So, yeah, overall, Marcel, actually, it was a decent card, a lot of finishes, but the main event, wasn't the greatest. Well, last couple comments, guys. We're going to start the next podcast up, the preview. Nice to have top tier Tafik Pak. Yeah, he probably does beat Pitbull. And Usman's fight's going to be interesting. Dana's again, I don't know. London, I'm not surprised he didn't go there because it's international, but you're right, something's going on here. If Adrian Key fights at 155 next, we should fight. Yeah, I heard that he's supposed to fight 155. Are you in the Patreon? I think you're in James's Patreon, right? Sun Collectibles, if I'm mistaken.
Yeah.
James was talking about this, right? Yeah. I don't know. Would he fight for the belt? Like, potentially? Could he fight the other Pitbull?
It's possible.
They could do Masayev and Usman or Magomedov. Maybe they would do that. I don't know. Like, these guys are all really good. I'm not sure what they'll do, but I do find it interesting that he's going to move up because I think that making that weight is very hard for him, obviously. So, all right. Anyways, Marcel, I think I've talked out for this podcast. We're going to start up the next one here, guys, in a minute. We're going to talk about UFC 277 and then Contender Series as well. We got that to preview quickly. We'll do that in the next podcast. Marcel, just plug your stuff quickly for the people who just watch this one, and then we'll go to the next one.
Big Marcel 24, Twitter, Instagram, Eurosport.nl, Mixed Martial Arts section.
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Twitter at MMMartin, podcast MMAOB.com. It's on our YouTube. It's on iTunes, Spotify, all those places, guys. Definitely like, share, subscribe, do all those things. Click that, smash that like button, as they like to say. I'm also at bookies.com. Best bets were pretty good last week, and then I'm also at miaminews.com. So, yeah, man, we'll start the next podcast here, guys. Just bear with us for a moment and stay tuned to the channel. I'm going to tweet out in a second. Peace.